People ask me, so what is Houston A+ Challenge? What does A+ do? Sometimes it's the hardest question to answer because we've done so many things over our 15-year history. We've strengthened the leadership and collaboration skills of more than 300 school leaders and 1,200 plus teachers in 15 plus districts across the region. We've run highly successful initiatives in math, literacy, and fine arts. We co-founded 4 charter schools, including the first early college high school in the state. We've brought in dozens of national speakers and research-based innovations to help stimulate and guide school reform. But the core mission running through it all, what it all comes down to, is that we are the one organization that gets down in the trenches alongside teachers and principals to help them do the extremely difficult work of public school transformation.
The greater Houston community itself is really responsible for the birth of Houston A+ Challenge. But as a catalyst for that, the Brown Foundation really took a lead role in pulling together community partners and philanthropists, business leaders, as a way to support what they found and had come to the conclusion was the most important thing for our and challenge for our community, which is high quality public education for all children. In 1993, Ambassador Walter Annenberg issued his challenge to the nation, which was a $500 million grant competition to stimulate sweeping reform of public schools in the nation's urban centers. Maconda Brown O'Connor took this on as her mission and vision, that every child, no matter what zip code, should have an access to a quality education. She and her sister Isabel Wilson rallied Houston's philanthropic community, our business leaders, our higher education leaders, our civic leaders, to rise to the challenge. It was a very special time when everyone was waking up to the idea that in order to thrive in the global marketplace, Houston really needed to step up the quality of our public schools. So with Maconda's passion and the commitment of this broad base of support for the community, Houston was selected as just one of 18 sites nationwide to give birth to a new nonprofit specifically designed to improve the quality of public education for all kids.
I'm so proud of Andrea and our dear friend Maconda Brown O'Connor, who's no longer with us, because they wanted to do something about it. You know, talk is cheap. And improving the schools is done classroom by classroom, school by school, and yes, sometimes it can't be done just by some politician giving a speech. It takes some money to provide the resources, to provide the incentives in order to improve our kids, and there's nothing more important than our community.
When I was superintendent of the Houston Independent School District, I always valued the work of A+. They helped us do new things, new ways of sharing new ideas and best practices with our teachers and with our students. But the thing I think I respected A+ most about was how they hold themselves accountable. It's always based on student outcomes and actual results, the important things that education is supposed to be about. So I had kind of a soft spot in my heart for A+.
And they realize that there's no silver bullet solution. They realize the importance of research and accountability and metrics in trying to determine whether you're actually making a change in the lives of children. And they worked with the public school system instead of those who, whether they be quietly or more overtly, attack the everyday educators who are out there doing the job.
Today we're running a 4-pronged systemic coordinated program at A+, all aimed at improving post-secondary success for all students. We run a middle school leadership academy where we work with principals and leadership teams to take a look at their current practices and then develop research-based action plans for getting more of their kids on the path to post-secondary success. This is executive-level coaching, goal setting, and strategic planning, just like you see in business.
As a principal, it's been invaluable to have another set of eyes on our campus, and so the A+ coaches that come out and work with our skill specialists and our teachers, and it has been such a valuable connection. True reform takes place. You're open-minded more about the things that you do. It becomes less of a challenge to share with someone, and it's a good thing because it allows us to talk about positive changes and approaches to what we do.
After spending a year with us in the Leadership Academy, the most committed school leaders get into the Challenge Network, where A+ sends in teacher-level coaching to drive the work deeper into math and literacy classrooms, and to build a school-wide culture that supports students' post-secondary success. We focus on middle schools because we know that, second only to preschool, this is a crucial leverage point that's often overlooked. It's the point where kids can either decide to go down a bad path or they can get inspired by the vision of what's possible for them in the future.
As students start to see their teachers as learners, they themselves become more engaged in the work, and they want to learn more themselves. Part of our job as coaches is to get them to focus in on, what's really going to impact these kids' learning and what's really going to allow kids to be ready for secondary success in the long run.
You model what you've seen all your life. The teacher stands at the front, the teacher grades papers, the teacher your teachers have had a certain classroom management style, and you mimic that. So those may or may not be the best educational practices. So coach is primarily responsible for building that pedagogical content knowledge. Like, not can you do the mathematics, but can you teach the mathematics? That's very different.
Another vitally important crossroad is the transition from high school to college, which is the third pillar of our work. Too many of our high school graduates are entering college unprepared to do college-level work. In the Gulf Coast Pass initiative, we're working with 11 local K-12 districts and 8 community college districts to align curriculum expectations and support structures for students as they transition from high school to community college. This is a systemic approach led by the University of Texas, Houston A+ Challenge, and the Institute for Evidence-Based Change. Fully funded by the Houston Endowment, and it's the most comprehensive effort of its kind to date.
So much of what's been developed over the years is sort of a marching orders. On day 2 we do this, on day 3 we do this, on day 4 we do this, without any regard to where the students are in that picture. And we're helping districts, classrooms, school buildings, everyone change to say, oh my gosh, I have 20 individuals in here, what's the best way to move 20 individuals?
And finally, we're continuing to push the importance of public engagement in public education, bringing national speakers to Houston to educate and inspire us, and working with our elected state leaders and local school board members to develop policies that support what's best for kids in the classroom.
They're in the schools where the real action is taking place, but they're also on the outside looking at the horizon, asking the important question, is there a better way to do this? Can we do it more efficiently? Are there other models out there that we can learn from?
We had mixed success dealing directly with schools or school districts with philanthropic gifts, and really I think they were feeling like the impact was less than they wanted it to be. So for the Brown Foundation, a group like A+ Challenge with large dollars and wide community support seemed to be a way to really be able to have an impact if it was at all possible.
We're living at a time when there's a lot of criticism about public education. Some of it even may be deserved. The question whether or not we can fix public education, the answer is definitely yes. And not only that, we must. Because even though there are some other quality alternative systems, public education is always going to be the heavy lifter. 9 out of 10 young Houstonians attend public schools. And only 2 out of 10 of them are going to go to post-secondary education. And for Hispanic groups and African American groups, the number is even smaller. Public education is really important, and we need to join hands and do what we can to make it work even better.
Particularly for Makanda, she felt that this was important not only for each individual child, but for our Houston economy. We had to have an educated workforce to have a great economy, and Houston was her second love, so this was a natural outgrowth of her passions, I think.
If we keep on the path of a traditional classroom, where the teacher is doing most of the talking, where the students are regurgitating information that they have heard from the teacher, if we develop a community of people who don't know how to think, then what will happen 15 years from now?
How do you know the kids understand? And that's a very difficult question, because a lot of them are used to giving a quiz on Friday and then finding out that maybe a third of them don't understand, and then they're in a, how do we fix this? We work on how do you know they understand in the minute, in the moment of the classroom.
We have an opportunity to create a community of people who think, who question their leadership, who have their own ideas, who transform teaching and learning, who transform communities and cultures by asking questions. And so what will that community look like when we all challenge each other and become learners for ourselves?
I look back at the legacy we've created over the past 15 years, the impact we've made, and I'm excited about where the next 15 years will take us.
I think of the A+ Challenge as the premier and path-breaking school reform organization in our community. Some people talk about school reform, they do it. They use measurement, they've learned from their experience, and I can assure anyone who wants to participate in the school reform effort that A+ Challenge will make sure that your donations are well spent.